Welcome to Ask a Puppy Trainer Show. This is where we answer all of your questions about puppyhood. I'm Bethany.
And I'm Sparky from the Puppy Academy. We're excited you're here. And now let's get to the show. All right, welcome guys. Welcome to Ask a Puppy Show, episode 156. And guys, just a reminder, next week, 1 p.m., we are not doing our Instagram Live, our Ask a Puppy Trainer Show. However, we're doing our Potty Training Power Hour. Did I say it right? Yeah. Kind of rolls off the tongue. It's very clever. And that will be Wednesday, June 26th at 1 p.m. Pacific time. And the link is in our bio for you guys to register. We have a lot going on. Bethany will be here for that one. She's not playing hooky that week. All right, let's give a start with Kristen. This is for a 3-month-old lab, is pretty good with toilet training, but will pee on carpet, not the tiles, as that's too easy to clean up. How can we stop her from peeing on rugs or carpet? We are on schedule. Then I have a follow-up who also said, mine too, I have one area rug left in my bedroom. That's where it happens. Wonder if he's marking or an actual accident. Do males mark at 4 months? Males and, oh, I knew you'd bring me Georgia. Did you hear me? Did you hear me say it? Yeah, I love Georgia. Hi, Georgia. Hi, I know. Sits like a little human. Perfect. Just gonna hang out with us for a bit. All right, so I know you guys mentioned you're on schedule, but being on schedule means that you wouldn't have this issue, so there's probably some kind of discrepancy somewhere on the schedule. When you have your puppy in the crate, I just can't get over this standing right here. This is amazing. It's perfect. Yeah, she's posed and licks on the hand. Perfect. So when your puppy is in the crate and you bring him out of the crate, one of the first things I always do is I have a harness and a leash on my puppy before they make it all the way out of the crate. That's your leverage to be able to control where they're going to go and where they're going to go potty eventually. So when I bring them out of the crate, I walk them outside. I sit at all my thresholds. I'm giving you a little bit more information than you need, but I always feel like I have to. And then when you get them to the outside area where you want them to go potty, you want to pause for a second before allowing them to go onto the grass or their potty area, then say break and allow them to go on. When I walk onto the potty area with them, I hold my arm out, whatever length my leash is, that's about the max they get, and I stand like a tree. I don't move around the yard. I don't follow them. They can go left, right, forward, back, front flip, back flip, wherever they want, but I'm not following them. They have only that 6-foot range. They'll usually sniff around for a couple minutes. If they go potty within 2 to 3 minutes, you're in a great place. Tell them good boy, good girl, good potty. Bring them inside for free time. If they don't go potty for you though, then you're ready for your next step. Your next step is putting them back in the crate. For a young puppy under 4 months, about 5 to 10 minutes. A puppy over 4 months, 10 to 15, all the way up to 30 minutes. And then after that time frame, I'll take them back outside. I'll do all the same stuff, make sure I build up my impulse control, and then give them another opportunity to go potty. I will rinse and repeat that back and forth, crate, potty, crate, potty, crate, potty, until they eventually go. But take this a step farther. If you're doing this multiple times, 2 or 3 runs back to the crate, you're actually like developing the new schedule without realizing it. Every time you put them back in that crate for another 15 minutes, another 3 minutes outside, now you basically just added 45 minutes to an hour to their schedule. So maybe instead of doing the 3 returns back to the crate, you just add that time frame, half of it at least, to the original crate time. We're doing an hour and a half. I'm going up to 2 hours, and I'm only doing 1 return back to the crate pretty frequently. In a week, I'll just do 2 hours and 15 minutes. Every time I bring them out of the crate, take them out for potty, they go right away because that's when they actually had to go. The longer they're with you, the more training you do, the more bladder control and impulse control you build, the longer that window becomes. So eventually that's how people get their dogs to do in crate for 2 to 4 hours. Maybe a first half day of work, checking up on the lunch, giving them a potty, hour to play and train, back to work for another 4 hours. So that's how we actually build up bladder control and also teach them when to go, where to go, and how to go. When you're doing your free time window as well, if you don't have a leash on your puppy, you might inadvertently be causing some of those accidents because puppies are roamers, they're explorers, and they're opportunists, and maybe not for the better in every situation. So if they're sniffing in a different room, and maybe you have a cat that stays in that room that's kind of hiding from them at the moment, that's a smell that a cat has. They might want to mark over that smell. So if it is marking, I want to give you both things. If it's just potty training, no worries. Try the crate training if you're not already doing that. If you're doing anything I said, then have a leash on them when they're out of the crate and don't let them leave your sight. That doesn't mean that you have to be holding it all the time, but I have the room limited so they can't get out of it. Maybe a playpen is blocking it. And if they're starting to get into stuff, then I can pick up the leash. If they're starting to leave the room, I can pick up the leash, and you're able to prevent them from going to new areas where they might want to mark. Was there a second part of that question? Do males mark at 4 months? That was kind of the second part. Every dog can mark at 4 months. Every dog can mark at 8 weeks. It's super rare, but depending on when dogs hit maturity or adolescence, that's usually when they start considering it. Maybe even like pre-adolescence, because adolescence is about 6 to 8 months for most dogs. So 3 to 4 months, 4 to 5 months, you could absolutely get marking. Prevention is leash and preventing access to areas like that.
You have some live questions you want to answer?
Yeah, I'll answer one. You turned my phone. Thanks, Kimberly. Look at you.
TikTok, we have them on Instagram.
Oh, okay. It's going to be hard to read those then. I have a 5-month-old Bernedoodle who is great at walking on a leash until she gets scared by something. Then she darts away, pulling on the leash, and there's no stopping her until we are back home. This is not going to be a generic answer, and I apologize because this is going to be a super tough answer. All right, where do we want to start with that one? Because I'd probably say if there's 10 different trainers in this room, you get 10 different answers, maybe a couple similar ones. What I would do in that situation is I have my dog afraid. She wants to bolt home. We're walking. She's walking. Something scares her. She goes back to run. I'm going to turn to face her. 2 hands on the leash. I'm going to hunker down as well, and I'm going to resist that pull, and I'm going to wait. When she loosens it a little bit, as in she realizes she's not going anywhere and she kind of softens that leash pressure and gives in a little bit, I'm going to try to hold. I feel that softening to where I don't need to really wrench back as much. I'm going to eat my way up the leash towards her body to where I'm holding right behind the shoulder blades on the harness, and I'm going to try to turn my body in front of her to kind of block her off just so I can be in charge of that. After a few moments, when she's able to settle down a little bit, I'll try pulling out a handful of food. She probably won't take it, but you could still try. And I'm still directly in front of her. Her head is pointing towards my pelvis, and I'm going to step back a few steps. She'll eat up that space, and then I'll try to step into her and ask her for a sit. You can do a little bit of leash pressure up as well. If you don't have head control, you might need it. A couple different options, slip leads, stuff like that. Jelly leads are also really, really great. Yeah, it's something to give you control over where they're seeing and where their head is going. Soften, they sit, good. You offer food, they don't want to take it. Don't keep offering it. It loses value the more you offer it, and they don't want it. Take a few steps back. They eat up that space. Step, 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 step in, sit. You're eating their space, they usually back off a step. I would do that until I see their body soften a little bit, and I'm probably not going to turn back in the direction of the thing that scared them. I'm actually probably going to go perpendicular to it. So if I'm stepping back, I get to a new block or something, or like maybe a new side street I can take, I'm going to try turning down that as well. And then the next 5 minutes of my walk is me just working my puppy. Not trying to go anywhere, not trying to do anything. I'm just literally going back and forth, doing let's go work for food. Anyone who doesn't know what let's go work is, we've mentioned a couple times on the show. It's also in our online school if you guys want to check that out. But it basically means that you're walking back, your puppy's going forward. When you feel tension, you say, let's go. You want to make sure your leash isn't going straight down their spine. It's kind of at a diagonal angle. So I step back at a slight diagonal. It turns their shoulders to look at me. I continue walking back. When they soften their pull and give in and start moving towards you, good puppy, food, turn and move the opposite direction, and do that until they follow you both directions very calmly and very relaxed. I think that answered the question.
We have another one. I don't think this has ever been asked before.
What's the question? I like that.
How to teach your Goldendoodle to stop trying to take food out of people's hands.
Oh, okay. This is from Colton Rogers. How to teach or train a 10-month-old Goldendoodle to stop trying to take food out of people's hands. Leash pressure, better boundaries. I mean, even just a knee bump could help you. The first thing I'm thinking of is if my 10-month-old dog is still taking food out of people's hands, I probably have a leash on them. They're not ready to be off leash. If I have people walking around with food in their hands, My puppy's not roaming around the living room, even with the leash on. They're doing place duration or they're in crate. If I have a dog that's stripping food from people's hands, the first thing I'm gonna do is build enough impulse control to where they can just exist on place. Place is teaching the dog to go to a designated area on command and stay there until released. So I'm teaching stationary first. I'm teaching my dog to exist in his space without invading other people's space. Once that's locked in, dialed in, and he's able to stay, where are you going? Oh, I scared you, sorry. Once that's locked and dialed in and he's comfortable staying on place, then I'm walking around the living room with the leash also on, but I want to have some kind of head control. So you might want to look into maybe doing a harness and some kind of slip lead. So when you're just walking, your pressure's on the harness. When he wants to go for a person's food, you can use a slip lead to kind of redirect him in a different direction. And then building up impulse control until the point to where I can walk through that living room and he doesn't even look at people's hands. If he's looking at people's hands now, that's a precursor. You can already start redirecting the minute you're walking. He's just looking around. He kind of dials in on something. No, little tug, let's go, and then I just start walking. The tug doesn't have to be hard. It's more of an interrupter just to get him to check in with you and look over at you. You could even do it on the harness if you want, the flat collar even. It's more of what we call like a check because you're checking for his attention. That is a good question. We don't get that too often. You're just going to hang out? All right, you just do your thing. All right, this is from Elle. My 5-month-old puppy is peeing in crate during bedtime for the last 3 nights in a row. She used to sleep through the night, no pee in crate. Now this, have you upped her water, Elle? Have you changed up your sleep schedule? These are all things that I think about. So if I want the perfect night of no potty, how old, 5-month-old puppy? Yeah, 5-month-old. He should be holding it 6 to 8 hours, no problem. I go to bed at 11 p.m. My puppy's final potty is at 10:59. The final water I give them is at about 6 to 6:30. I make sure when I put them in crate, I do a little bit of calm crate patterning before I put them in the crate. What that might look like is walking them up to the crate, having them sit, having them go in the crate. We call it house. Have them go in the house, close the door. Leash is still on. I'm still holding it in one hand, even with the door shut. I open the door. They try to come out. No, close it. They back off, surprised that you were willing to close the door on them because they were pushing hard to get out. They back off, you open the door, repeat, they come out, you close it, they back off, you open it, they wait for you. That's step 1. That's what you're looking for. And then let's go walk out of the crate. Let's go back to the crate, put them in the crate, close the door, open it, pattern a few times. So you're not ending the night with him running around having fun, him doing lots of playtime, him hanging out on the couch getting cuddle time with us. You're ending it with mental stimulation because very likely it's your puppy waking up in the middle of the night. If it's not the resources I already mentioned, giving water at an earlier time as the last time, and then making sure you give one potty before bed. If it's neither of those, then it's probably because your puppy's waking up. If you're a snorer, if you got a new partner who snores. These are the type of things I think of. If I'm waking my puppy up, that could be a cause of it. If you feel like it's that, move the crate to a different room when you sleep and then move it into your bedroom during the daytime so you can still do daytime crate training. That's what I try out. Let us know how it goes. Come back next week. All right. Let's go with a TikTok question. All right. This is from Lacey H. My 8-month-old is housebroke upstairs, but isn't seeing my finished basement as part of my house. Today she peed on the rug right in front of me. What do I do? Follow everything I mentioned for the first 3 questions. There is definitely a part in there for you. Got to keep them on leash. Got to have the leash in your hand. And you got to make sure that if you're walking through a space, their bladder is empty, especially if it's a new space. That way they don't try to mark it. So yeah, a little bit more control and re-listen to the first 10 minutes of the live. That's where we went over the answer to your question too. Is it all potty training questions?
No, there's just a few.
Guys, there's a lot of potty training questions. But guess what? Next week we have our potty training power hour, 1 p.m. Make sure you're there because everything here, it's a full hour of going over potty training and different Q&As at the end. Trust me, anyone with a potty training question, I'm going to skip them from here on out because please join the potty training power hour. Okay. This is for Rebecca the One Banks. Hello, I have a 1.5-year-old 4-pound Yorkie. She goes to bed about 9 to 10 p.m. She wakes up about 7 a.m. whining, and if I don't hurry and get her outside, she pees in the crate. I answered your question already. Go back to the first 10 to 15 minutes now. Is it possible? Okay, I don't know who that is. That's a continuation of someone else's question. Yeah, I don't know where that's from. Okay. This is from, all right, perfect. This is from one of our videos. When a puppy starts refusing their food. One person said, that's the exact situation I'm in right now, but treats don't work. He's been ignoring food all day. I can literally hear his stomach growling. What do I do? Another person said, same, her stomach is growling, but still refusing. Not sick at all. You guys got a bit of a wait out period. You can't go more than usually 2 to 3 days if they're at the proper weight or a little bit underweight. But if your dog, just so everyone knows, this is going off of you're not refusing to give food, it's your puppy refusing to eat the food you give. So you make a full switch over. You don't put food in bowls anymore. Everything is hand-fed, training, or the bowl goes on the ground. You give them up to 5 minutes to eat. Whatever is remaining, you lift that bowl up, cover it with some saran wrap, put it in the fridge. Lunchtime rolls around, give it back, 5 minutes, doesn't eat it, remove it. Dinner rolls around, 5 minutes, lift it up, doesn't eat it. No worries, they skip that meal for the day. And remember, it's not that we're not giving them food. We're not withholding food. We're giving the opportunity. They don't want it because they're being picky. Another alternative you guys have, because I know you said you've kind of tried this and you're getting the same situation. They're not eating and their tummy's rumbling. I don't know if you can still keep going with not giving them food for that day where you're kind of pulling it away when they don't want to eat it. You got to be a little bit careful if they're underweight or at the proper weight because they can lose weight pretty quickly. The other alternative I do is I start using food for training. So I use their kibble for every meal becomes a training tool. They don't want to train, you've at least offered another option, another pathway for them eating the food. The only time I really get worried, I know Bethany says like 2 or 3 days. We have to say that as a disclaimer, but you could probably get to 4 or 5 days. Truly, if they're just not eating, I mean, there's nothing you can do about that if they don't want to eat their food. You kind of just have to wait for them to get hungry enough to eventually eat enough. But if you get to that 4th day and they're really hungry and you think something might physically be wrong with them, get a parasite check at the vet. You could have some kind of bacterium in them. You could have a parasite. So let's make sure it's not because of that. That's why they're not eating. And if they're just withholding, then yeah, you might have a day or 2 more to work through it.
How do you feel about toppers?
I'm not a fan of toppers at all. Oh, okay. I see what you did there, Ricky. And a lot of people are like, well, I could put on a topper and they eat their food. I just take a teaspoon of wet food and I just stir it in, they eat the whole thing. Can I do that? Yes, you can for the rest of their lives because you'll have to. You don't have an option after you've introduced that. You probably are still early in it if you have done that. But if you're mixing bone broth or chicken broth or beef broth or adding wet food or adding those little toppers or adding some like little chicken breasts you get from Kirkland, you get from Costco, because that seasoned chicken, it could be causing some of the digestive issues too if you're running into that. If you add that stuff, that's all your dog cares about. I know so many dogs, they got one topper, one extra thing added to the food to make it a little bit more valuable, and they wouldn't even touch their food for the next 2 weeks. And it took them literally just having them eat one meal every 3 days, just enough to sustain themselves, before the dog realized they weren't getting that topper back and started going to their original food. So if you've tried that, thank you, Rick. I didn't even think about that. If you've tried adding something to the food, that's probably the reason they're not actually eating their normal food. Because we add one thing to be nice to our puppies, but it actually does the opposite for us.
You want to answer some TikTok questions?
Yeah, if we have any. Cool. Is this the first one?
Yes.
Thank you. Advice, it's just a blue car as a sign. So, blue car. I have advice for a puppy resource guarding toys. She steals for our older dog's toys from his mouth and takes it to her bed. Toys are gone. We're eliminating toys. My personal recommendation is I'd eliminate it from my older dog and my younger dog, because you're very likely eventually going to run into conflict with those toys. The other option, if you want your older dog to be able to have the toys, but you want your younger puppy to not have them, not have access to them, the older dog only gets the certain toys that the puppy's trying to steal, like the bones, the chews, all those, when the puppy's in the crate. Puppy's out of the crate, you want to have control over him. Honestly, how old is this puppy? Yeah, I don't have an age. Please, guys, throw me age and breed. It really changes every piece of advice I give you, because I could tell you much more closely if it was like a Dachshund who's 4 months old. They're just a pushy breed and they're very invasive to older dogs because They're dogs that literally like want to be inside an older dog's mouth. If it was a golden retriever, he's just excitable pushy. If it's a Labrador retriever, that's probably just a dog who doesn't even realize he's being a goofball and stealing the toy. Like it's different for every single breed, but I'm just going to go off the general, which is anytime puppy's out of the crate, all the toys are being heavily monitored and controlled. There's not more than one out for the older dog. Puppy's on leash, you're holding the leash and you're keeping them away from the older dog and you're giving them space. And that's just general boundaries. I don't know if you guys have them on a schedule yet. If you've looked at our schedule, which is in our BIOS, you can print it out and it basically just gives you a rough outline for it. It basically means that puppy's in the crate for a portion of time, comes out of the crate, gets a block of free time, which it's heavily regimented. It's like not even really free time. Consider it out time. They're out of the crate, but they're doing walk and play, on leash training, on leash supervised separation, playpen, or on leash with the back tie tether. So there's always something they're doing throughout that free time. There's never really a time for them to invade your older dog space to grab that toy. I gotta be honest, and I know for a hard fact, Bethany would agree with me because we stress this every time, young puppies shouldn't have free access to your older dogs. They have complete different personalities, mindsets, and temperaments. Until your puppy is more of an adolescent to middle-aged male dog or female dog, that's when they're going to start linking up a little bit better and meshing versus colliding. So make sure you're giving that puppy a lot of structure around your older dog so you can avoid any incidents later on. All right. Oh, not that many TikTok questions today. Okay. I still got a few here. These guys sent them in, so I'm going to read these first. All right. And this is for two older dogs, but I'm going to try to give an answer for an older dog and a younger dog. See if I can kind of spin it a little bit. How are we doing on time? Doing very good. All right. This is from Holly. I have two dogs, a Goldendoodle and a Romanian rescue. Oh, Romanian. That's cool. I had my Doodle for 6 months before adopting my Romy. They're a couple months apart in age. Could they still have littermate syndrome? Let me just reread it again. 6-month-old, $2. Okay, so the Doodle was first. She had the Doodle for 6 months before getting the Romanian Ridgeback. So we actually don't truly know the ages. We just know that she had the Doodle first. Oh, we got ages down below. Thank you, Kimberly. They're both nearly 2 years old. Had my Doodle for 10 weeks old and my Romy from 9 months old-ish. Okay, perfect. They have become reactive to other dogs and socializing is very hard. I'm not going to be able to answer that one because that's no longer for puppyhood. Let me just do the first part, the littermate syndrome. Could they have littermate syndrome? Yeah, absolutely. If they've spent that long together. My question is, what is their time together? What are you doing? Are you eating my mic? No. How much time do they spend together per day? Sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied now. I'm going in 4 different directions in my head. Are they being crate trained during the day? Are their crates right next to each other? Are they separated from room to room? When I'm trying to train one dog, do I have control over that dog, or is that dog trying to constantly get to my other dog? When I train both dogs together, are they trying to steal each other's food? Do they have any kind of independence from each other? When I leave the house and one barks, does the other one escalate off of that bark? If I take one to the vet and I leave the other one at home, is that an impossible situation? Because the second dog will just scream and howl because the dog's gone, not the owner. These are the types of things I'm looking for. Because littermate syndrome is just separation anxiety from each other, and they cut out the pack order of human. That means that they look to each other as the dominant and the submissive, but they don't look to you as the main leader. They take cues from each other. That's the kind of stuff I'm looking for to see if they actually have littermate syndrome. So I don't truly know. If you want to give me a little bit more details next week and say, yes, we can't leave with one dog and the other one stays. No, I can't do walks separately. They just scream and panic the whole time. When I walk them together, are they both pulling strongly to other dogs? I think that may have even been the second part. If so, yeah, they probably do have littermate syndrome. They're just feeding off each other's energy and they don't see you as the main leader to give direction to both of them. They direct each other until they get in trouble with you. Yeah, a lot of that stuff is just more separation. I'm doing playstration. I have one dog on one side of the room with a back tie and a front lead. I have another dog on the other side of the room, back tie, front lead. So that means that there's like a weight on the ground. Their harness is clipped to the weight clipped to the harness so they're anchored to that bed. Other side, same thing. And I have leashes, like maybe a 15 to 20 foot long leash that I can still kind of control them a little bit. They try to get off place, guidance, sit, good, place, sit, good, and I can still control them from a distance. You just need to have separation. They can't be together all day long. They need to be crate trained maybe at the same time, staggered on two different sides of the house. One crate is in the bedroom, one crate is in the office on the opposite side of the house. When they come out for free time, if they're constantly just feeding off each other, and the minute you bring them both out of the crate, you've lost all leverage with them, crate train them separately. So I'm going to put Jack in the crate from 12 to 1, and Louie's going to come out of the crate from 12 to 1. When Louie goes in the crate from 1 to 2, Jack comes out of the crate from 1 to 2. So I'm staggering even their free time to do more training. And maybe I do that 2 or 3 times a day. And then the last time they come out at the end of the night or midway, they do a switch off and then they get to come out together. So you stagger their free time to get training, get leverage, and then you put their free time together if you want them to have some time to play and train together and do all that kind of stuff. I got 1 minute. I'm going to go over one more question. I'm going to read a TikTok one. Or sorry, Instagram. TikTok's not posting today. All right. I have a 9-week-old English Springer Spaniel who is teething. Ouch. Oh man, I already know what your arms look like. When she starts nipping at us, she gets pretty rough. And when we try to, rowdy. She gets pretty rowdy. And when we try to resist, pull away, she begins to growl. Is there a second part, Parker? Is there any advice you have to help either correct this or would this be considered normal? Hey friend. One thing I'm going to ask is, are we crate training? A puppy that age should be sleeping anywhere between 16 to 20 hours a day. Let me say that again, because anyone listening to that probably just went, what? 16 to 20 hours a day, roughly, is how much a puppy should be sleeping. The reason they need, are you biting my mic? I saw that. The reason they need that much sleep is because that's what they require to be well rested. So if I have a puppy that's constantly alert, constantly on, that's like having a 1-year-old who's not napping. They cry, scream, and kick you in the shin all day long. More nap time to start with, more crate time, more structure. And then when I bring them out of the crate, I want to make sure I even structure my free time. Every part of free time has a structure. No, I see you going for that mic. No, you stay away. Because every part of free time has structure. Okay, she's done. You're done. She almost went through my mic. Yeah, she did good. Sorry guys, let me just reset my thoughts. Okay, you need to start crate training. If you're not already doing it. If you are doing it, then I'm sorry I pointed at you and clapped at you like that. Good job crate training. When they come out for crate training, this is where a lot of people treat that free time as a free window of just kind of hanging out and doing whatever they want. It's not that, guys. It's not free time to just do whatever they want. That's where we do our physical stimulation, walk and play, constructive, fetch, tug, all that kind of stuff, walking along in your driveway back and forth. Training, that's your mental stimulation. Come, play, sit down. Place, teach them to go to a designated area on command and stay there until we release them, which is like our calm on command. These are all the things that tires out the body, then tires out the mind, and then the supervised separation, just putting them in one spot to cool off, that's what allows them to truly relax and settle their brain. All these things are going to help you with the nipping because you're giving them more time to dedicate that energy to positive channels. I want you to think of their brain as an atom. And anyone who's been back to the show many times already knows this. Think of that atom as constantly rotating. It's just energy reincarnate. And when it doesn't have a channel, atom bomb. That's your puppy when they bite you. When they're kind of just doing that like neurotic rowdiness where they're just baby shark trying to snap at you. That's atomic bomb in the brain. What you can do though is you can give different ways of using the energy. Come, place, sit, down, heel, drop it, leave it, fetch. Place, all of those. The energy starts going in channels. They use it more efficiently. Some puppies are still a little too rowdy and they still want to nip. So here's how I know if my puppy is ready for sleep. They're ready for the crate. I have a 3-strike rule and I love it. I'll end this whole thing with my 3-strike rule. Strike 1 is a simple redirection. And I'm willing to bet you every trainer in the world has some version of the 3-strike rule, and ours might all be different and vary a little bit. But the general theme of it is strike 1 is redirection. Strike 2 is addressing the problem and then redirecting. Strike 3 is they just need a timeout. They need a break from whatever reality they're in. So strike one, redirection. Puppy is biting at my hands. I'm going to stand like a tree, hands against my chest, firm back, firm shoulders, and I'm going to give a loud, it might be loud, sorry guys, move away from your speaker. No! Loud, it's going to reverberate through the room a little bit. You're not mad. It's not angry. It's not a, ooh, no. It's no! Calm and neutral. And freeze. Don't move yet. And most puppies are going to do this and dart back because you raised your voice at them and you don't normally do that. Calm. And then slowly try to grab a toy. You need that small break in between where they kind of go, whoa, and they look away from you for a second because that's like the interruption they needed to break away from the craziness. Then I pick up my toy, break, and I'll try to give them the toy and re-engage with the toy a little bit. Sometimes that doesn't work. Sometimes they're not toy motivated. I've also got my pouch on my hip because anytime my puppy's not in a crate, I always got a training pouch with food or kibble or treats or whatever I think my puppy wants. And I'm going to reach in my pouch, pick up my leash, because again, our puppies all have leashes on as well, of course. I'm going to put the food to my puppy's nose and I'm going to redirect them to place and sit and down and good. But I'm not going to treat yet because they're still in the mindset of wanting to jump and bite at you and nip at you. They're still overstimulated. Once I get them on place, they're doing the sit and the down. Again, come, place, sit, down. They're still smelling the food. That's my leverage, my lure. Come, place, sit down. And now they're like, they look like they've taken a breath and they're kind of dialed in. They're giving us great eye contact. Good. And I'll start rewarding with food. The reason I wait to give food is because I don't want my puppy to think, oh, jump, bite mom's pants or her dress, run to place, sitting down, and I'm going to get food. Bite, place, sit, down, food. Bite, place, sit, down, food. Bite, place, sit, down, food. No, no, no. We want to put time in between the no, the redirection, and the work mode is when we reward. And that's only strike one. That might actually work. That might be all you need. Strike two, though, is if you have a more pushy puppy. I think you guys will be in that because Springer Spaniels tend to be. Strike two is where we address it at the source. This is where I might step into my puppy. I might do leash pressure up. I might do a little itty bitty tug as a reminder. I might even just do a little leg bump if my puppy's jumping up and I'm short and they're a tall puppy. So you have a lot of different options. But basically what it means is you're going to invade their space because what they're doing when they jump up and bite you is they're invading your space. What if I turn that against them and I use that against them instead? My puppy jumps at me. They jump up on me. They're starting to bite my arm. I reach under their neck. I grab the leash. I lift. Did you take Georgia out already? I handed her to you. Okay. I lift up and out and I move into my puppy. That's going to force the head up and away and back away from you. Do not lift high enough to lift your puppy's feet off the ground. That's not what this is about. It's only to lift the head, which is trying to come down and bite you, above the shoulder, and their body is going to relax and straighten. That's really what you're looking for. And then when they kind of back off and step back and backpedal, slowly relieve that tension. It's only enough to get them to move away from you and create space and kind of lift that head above the shoulder. If they try to force their head down, they're going to pull their own paws up. If the paws are curled like this, that's on them. That's not on you guys. You're still doing everything right. And you're waiting for the moment for them to take a breath. Not jump, not bite, not nip. Just take a breath. Hand in the pouch. Same exact thing that we did for step one with the redirection with the food and the training. Same exact thing. But that still hasn't worked now. They came back a third time. Food didn't work. Training didn't work. Toy didn't work. Redirection, addressing it didn't work. Now we get to strike three. Guess what, guys? Your puppy just very clearly told you that they're tired, cranky, and they're ready for a nap. You're going to help them out. Take a deep breath because now you're mad. It's been 25 minutes of your puppy biting you. It's okay to be mad. We all get mad. We all get frustrated with our puppies, but it's not okay to show that to them when you're about to put them in the crate. So this is where I say take a deep breath. I go from very zen, very relaxed. My temperament, my body language, even the tone of voice changes. I calmly walk up. I pick up my leash. I walk to house, crate. I put them in it, take off their gear, close the crate, cover it, and I walk away. But a lot of people are asking themselves, but I thought crate should never be a punishment, because every trainer will say that, and they're absolutely right. It's not. What makes crate a punishment? How does the dog know he's getting punished? Bad dog, no! House! That's pretty scary to a dog. That's a lot of emotion, and dogs actually don't really understand our emotion. They understand neutrality and body language. So that's why I said take a deep breath. Even if you gotta fake it till you make it. You're mad, you're upset, that's okay. But your puppy needs to see calm stoicism. Come, house, good, cover it. And they're gonna sit in there for 5 or 10 minutes barking, because what they're thinking is, I was jumping on mom, I was biting her hands, and I know how much she loves that, but somehow I ended up in the crate. Well, let me let them know how frustrated I am, because, of course, every dog thinks you want to be bit, because that's how they play with each other. And after 10 minutes, they settle, they relax, they go to sleep. Hour and a half later, bring them out of the crate. You got a well-rested puppy, ready to work, ready to train, ready to walk, ready to play. All right. I'm going to end this there, guys. Just one more shout out to next Wednesday, 26th at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Link is in our bio to register. It's our potty training power hour. God, that just rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it? Ricky, she really has those well. Okay. All right, guys. See you next week. Bye. Thanks for tuning into Ask a Puppy Trainer Show.
We hope you found some advice that you can use to help make puppyhood a little easier.
Don't forget to join us live every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time on Instagram or TikTok at The Puppy Academy.
This is where you can get a chance to ask your burning questions in real time. And if you want even more puppy guidance, visit our website at thepuppyacademy.com for info on joining our online puppy school.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing to our podcast and leaving us a review.
These reviews let more people find us and supports us on our mission to help as many puppy parents as possible around the globe.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.